Hi everyone, my name is Jiao, as Ting introduced, and today we are going to talk about how digital has transformed China in the sense that it not only transformed the life of the general audiences, but also the life of brands in China as well. So to start, we would like to tell you more about how digital in China has evolved. So the first thing that we need to remember that China, like the digital world, is very large and complex, but it's also very agile and adaptive. So if you can see on the screen, this is the map of China. And when you see it, you can tell that we have three different tiers of cities. Tier 1 are the top cities, which are Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen. So the pink ones here. And tier 2 cities are the provincial capitals, including Hangzhou, Nanjing, Chengdu, and Changsha, etc. Tier 3 and tier 4 are the other cities and counties in the rest of China. If you think about it, people who lived in Beijing, Shanghai, in tier 1 cities, what they need and what they do on the digital world are quite different from what people in tier 3 and tier 4 cities. So before you go to China, or before you want to know about the digital in China, you have to bear in mind the things that I'm going to talk about later is more about a generalization, not just about everything will be the same in every provincial city. On the right-hand side, you will see two sets of data. This is just to show you how China digital world has evolved quickly from 2.3 million websites in 2015, and now it's already has 5.3 million websites. Same applied to mobile apps. We had only 1 million in 2015, and then we now currently have 4 million plus mobile apps. To give you a simple example, I went back to China in February during Chinese New Year, and these are the two images that I stole from my cousins through their social media. On the left-hand side, this is an image from my sister from one shopping cart, one shopping journey on Tmall.com, which is the biggest online platform, e-commerce platform in China. On the right-hand side, this is a snooker cue that my brother bought through the cross-border e-commerce channel from UK. So on the left-hand side, I think the cost was around £1,000. On the right-hand side, the cost was around £600. But where I am from is this part of China, which is supposed to be tier 18, not even tier 3 city in China. And my sister earns around £400 per month, while she will spend £1,000 only on cosmetics. And my brother, she earns around £400 per month, and he spends £600 on snooker cue during Chinese New Year. So why so? Then this is something that's different. So the new growth driver for e-commerce currently now in China is actually from the small town youngsters, as what we call in China 小镇青年, compared to the city elites who has driven e-commerce growth in the past 5 or 6 years. They are 25 to 44 years old, living in tier 1 cities, and the population is around 30 million. But when you look at the small town youngsters, where all these people are from tier 3 to tier 5 cities, they are around 18 to 30 years old, and the population is only 200 million. When you compare their income level, you can see the tier 1 city earns far above the tier 3 and tier 5 cities. However, the small town youngsters are able to spend almost as equally as much as the city elites. Why? Because they are living a much easier life. They live not far from tier 1 and tier 2 cities. Within driving distance, they live together with their parents, or their parents will buy the house for them to live in. So they don't have any house loan. They have low living expenses, low working pressure. So with all the leisure time and all the disposable income, which is almost their entirely salary, they are able to drive the new e-commerce growth. So that's just one example to show you guys, when you look into China, don't just look at the surface. look down and look deep to figure out why, where, and who are driving the growth, and who should be your target audiences. So this is an example. The second point that I want to make is in China now, mobile is the new TV. If you look at this chart, the above hand side is the media penetration, meaning within 1,000 households, how many of the households use certain media channels. And down below is the time spent minutes per day on each certain channel. So as you can tell, this is the TV channel. The second one, the media penetration has dropped from 80% to 69% within 5 years, and the time spent has also decreased a lot on this channel. So what is growing is definitely mobile. So the mobile penetration already increased from 31% to 70%, and the time spent is 20 minutes and also increased to 80 minutes. And people now, another point is people now stopped almost to read. The penetration dropped a lot, and we don't read, to be honest. So we read merely like 2 minutes per day a book. So this is to say that when you do marketing, when you look at digital world, it's literally mobile world in China now. And for those who are not so familiar with China digital landscape, because the existence of the firewall, China now has different set of apps and websites for us to use compared to what we have here in the UK. So for search engine, for Google, we have Baidu. For Facebook, we have WeChat. For video site, we have Youku. And for e-commerce, we have Taobao and Tmall. And here we have eBay and Amazon. The same applies to microblog, where here we have Twitter. In China, what we have is called Sina Weibo. So this is just to see that we do have two completely sides of different apps and websites we use in China. Some of them are copied from the UK competitors or counterparts. However, a lot of them has already evolved from just a copycat to, I would like to call them a mutant in Chinese digital world. So up until now, you have learned that China digital landscape is quite different. And what I'm going to talk about now is all those apps and all the websites mainly owned by three big giants, technology companies in China. The first one is Alibaba, the second one is Tencent, and the third one is Baidu. So what Alibaba is really strong is e-commerce. So it owns Taobao.com, Tmall.com, and it also has Alipay. Tencent is the #1 social in China. So WeChat and QQ is owned by Tencent. And Baidu is the #1 search engine in China, and also the navigation tool is also owned by Baidu. These are the three strong suits that they have, but what they are doing now is they are trying to expand to other territories to make sure that basically they have what they call the ecosystem within the digital world. Why is it important for you guys, for marketeers, to know these three giants? The reasons are they build the wall so high that it's very difficult to penetrate to the others digital world and or digital ecosystem. For example, if you have a Taobao link which is owned by Alibaba, you can't directly share it on WeChat, which is owned by Tencent. They have a smart workaround where you posted, you actually copied a character link and posted it in WeChat, but you can't just directly post that. And the same applies to the articles that you posted on WeChat. That's not searchable on Baidu because they are owned by two different companies. So that's how this will actually influence a lot your digital marketing strategy and your digital marketing loop. And so let's zoom in the mobile. So what do people do in mobile? There are three major things. The first one is social media. The second one is people watch videos. And the third one is definitely shopping and payment. Let's dive into them one by one. Video is more and more so becoming more popular in China now, especially through mobile. So 72.9% of people who use mobile are using mobiles to view videos directly in China. Online video has evolved to new formats such as live streaming. These are the examples to show two types of live streaming. The left-hand side is more professional, used more for B2B marketing, which is on Zhihu platform, where you can just be the host and then you can broadcast your understandings of certain industries, and then basically people can ask questions and you can answer there. On the right hand side is where the chaos is, which is live streaming for consumers. This guy, when I went back to China during this February, everyone in Shanghai around the corner on every street is talking about him. His name is called Li Jiaqi, and what he's famous for is he's able to sell a lipstick with, for 3 million RMB, 3 million RMB, which is around 300,000 pounds, within almost 20 to 30 minutes. So basically, that's how live streaming now is already in China a huge trend since last year. And also short videos. We call it snackable content, mainly because the short videos is around 15 seconds to 30 seconds. 73% of people watch video on mobile, as we said, and this is also because we have now in China easy access to 4G and Wi-Fi. And this also is because now more and more so Chinese consumers have shorter attention span, and we are much more impatient than the consumers here in the UK. So we have the need for instant self gratification. So the short video daily active user has grown 257% within 1 year. So when talking about short videos, there's one platform that I need to talk about, which is called Douyin, and it's called TikTok in the UK. So it's a short video community of social, entertainment, and fun. So 85% of Douyin user is under 28 years old, and people literally spend more than 2 hours on this app. And also, the majority of the users are from the tier 1 and 2 cities. So it's really, really popular in China now. How do brands actually use Douyin? As you can see here, we have Adidas, we have Douyin.com, which is another e-commerce platform. We have Oppo, and we also have key opinion leaders who are using this. So you can have your official account on Douyin, and then you can also publish very interesting short videos on it as well. You have followers, and then basically you have more views as you can have in other platforms. And you can also have branded add-on. For example, this is the emoji that's created by Suning here, the small line. And basically you can use that to do photos, to do videos as well. And another popular thing that people do on Douyin is Douyin challenge. So it's literally someone shot a 10 seconds video doing something, and his or her followers or friends will start to do the same thing and ready on. And also, it has a function for you to buy directly through e-commerce. So it's instant conversion to e-commerce, and it's instant use for you to broadcast what you want to talk about as brand. After the short video, another topic that can't be avoided is social media. So 92% of people use the mobile and use mobile to do social media. When we talk about social media, it's almost dominated by two platforms, WeChat and Weibo. WeChat is almost 98% coverage. You got 700 million people using it, and the user experience is very intimate. We call it a closed circle. For example, you can only be invited to the group. Some groups you can't even join. You can only see the articles that published by the accounts that you are following. And once your friend share an article in their moments, that's the moment that you can see it. You can't literally go forward what your friend said, because you and him might not be in the same circle. So it's more intimate, it's more one-to-one. People use it a lot for text and audio messaging, post some moment update. More and more so, people are now using it for search, which I will talk about later. For Weibo, it's more like a broadcasting tool, where it's like one-to-many. It's like Twitter. You have a lot of celebrities on Weibo using it as the interactive channel with their fans, and it's more for to share and read news, or simply just watch some short videos from other platforms, or also upload it on the platform. And the overlapping of these two platforms is around 58%. So a lot of people are using both WeChat and Weibo. So when we do marketing, a lot of people say that you have to reach a consumer 5 times before they make a purchase. And now I believe the number has changed to 8. So if you are considering multi-channel strategy for digital marketing, Weibo and WeChat is definitely a channel that you should consider to cover, no matter if you are a business-to-business brand or business-to-consumer brand. Because of the time, I would like to talk more about WeChat, what we call the all-in-one app or the super app in China. Apart from texting with each other, sending audio messages, WeChat is much more than just a chatting app in China. Is the app that has helped shape the Chinese digital world. The first thing that's introduced mainly through WeChat is the QR code. I know that Western world or the UK brands have some doubts or suspicion around the QR codes, but this is definitely working in China, and Chinese consumers are trained instantly now. Whenever we see a QR code, we pull out our phone and scan it. So QR code is a very smart tool if you want to drive your consumers from offline to online, from your website to your WeChat account, from an interesting WeChat article that you publish or you publish through a KOL, and drive people to your account. And the second thing, as I spoke, is the official accounts, where a brand can set up its account and have followers. You will have people who follow you, who message you through the official accounts. It's actually a very, very useful tool if you want to keep in touch through social media with your fans. And the third one is the online to offline or offline to online connection, what we call is O2O. Meaning, if you have an offline store, it's very easy for you to go into that store. You can scan the QR code on the clothes, for example. Then you can get the product delivered to your home directly if you don't have that size in the store. And the same applies to online to offline. Uniqlo every year on 11th November, which is the Singles Day, they will have 2 sets of apps open. The first one is they will ask people to basically purchase online, and they can collect on the day offline directly from the store. This also helps them to save costs in terms of delivery as well. And the fourth one is a very interesting one, the stickers or emojis here. So a lot of brands smartly use stickers and emojis to talk to their followers and to encourage their followers to use their tailored stickers to talk with friends. And this is definitely phenomenal in China, because those of young people, they only talk to each other through emojis. They don't even need to type in anything. And the fifth one is WeChat payment. So China now is becoming cashless. I can go around living comfortably in China for 1 week without cash in my wallet, all through WeChat Pay and Alipay as well. And the sixth one is mini program, which is essentially an app that you can open directly through WeChat. So you don't have to download it. You can just use it directly in your WeChat. So a lot of brands use this as the e-commerce tool, as the communication tool, and some of them even use it as a tool for asking feedbacks or consumer reviews from the consumers. And the last one is the most important, actually, is now more important than your wallet. Your mobile is now shopping and payment, and everything is driving the growth of e-commerce. That's 70% of people who are using mobile actually use it to shop and payment. As I said earlier, mobile payments have entered the retail mainstream. 70% of smartphone users in China use a phone to pay for goods and services at the point of sale in 2017. Alipay, WeChat, and WeChat Wallet and UnionPay lead the way in terms of mobile payments. Nowadays, if you go to buy the street food in China, you can use the WeChat. Some of the street performers even use a QR code to collect payments in very digital way when you go to China. 40% of consumers carry less than 100 RMB in cash, which is around 10 pounds. So basically, you can live perfectly in China without wallet, but you can't survive without phone. That's the key message here. And as a lot of people has witnesses, the Chinese e-commerce growth is still very strong. Starting from 2015, 3.8 trillion RMB sales volume to now 7.6 trillion. With 51% e-commerce growth, with 51% e-commerce market share globally already. This is the Global Shopping Festival of Double 11. For anyone who doesn't know it, it's like the Thanksgiving or Black Friday shopping day here in the UK. So this festival was created by Tmall Alibaba. So on that day, it started with 50% off, and after it has evolved within 10 years, there are lots of different promotions going on that day. And it's not just Alibaba who is joining this festival. It's almost all online e-commerce platforms, online brands. And nowadays, it's even offline brands, offline stores are actually doing this Double 11 thing. How big is it? The orange line is what the Alibaba only, so the Alibaba only sales in 24 hours in Double 11 2018. So it's $30.8 billion. And below the line is the US sales, online sales for Black Friday, including Cyber Monday. So it's $7.9 billion in 120 hours. So this is the difference to show that how powerful this festival is and how amazing things can a brand do on that single day. So e-commerce, why is it so exciting for brands in China? Because it's highly dynamic and evolving. The landscape, as you can see here, we have domestic e-commerce, we have cross-border e-commerce, we have social e-commerce, we have O2O, we have B2B, we also have overseas commercials. So as you can see here, there are loads of players in loads of cross-border e-commerce, domestic e-commerce channels. So when you think about entering China, it's not just Tmall.com or Jingdong.com. There are actually a lot more small channels or targeted channels that you can think about when you start to do business or start to think about e-commerce in China. All those platforms are as the same as in the digital world, dominated by large platforms with almost a little presence of brand-owned e-commerce websites. So on Tmall, you are able to open up your own flagship stores. That's almost almost 90% of the brands do when they go to China. I'm not saying that it's definitely not possible for you to have direct to consumer e-commerce website in China, but it will be very difficult to attract as much traffic as you can if you open up a store on Tmall or on other platforms. So my advice will be that if you have a really unique point of your brand, then you can think about to open the e-commerce website. Otherwise, I would go for the approach to leverage the traffic from the big platforms. To finish our talk today, I would like to introduce the latest trend in e-commerce and also in digital world in China. So currently, more and more so, social media is linked with retail now. It's almost instant conversion. So here there are two Chinese words which are used quite often in currently Chinese social media. So, for example, the first one we call is 种草, meaning you plant the grass in people's mind. When it grows, you literally pull it out. So the second word is called 拔草. So the first one, what we call 种草, when you're planting the grass, is more about how you use social as a tool, how you use content as a tool to make people, make consumers want you. And the social media currently in China almost all empower the brands to convert instantly, where you actually can ask them to purchase directly through that platform. And usually this is done through certain hero product. So I know a lot of brands before, like what I did in Unilever. We use a lot of TV channels, we use a lot of prints, we use a lot of offline point of sales to promote our products. Now in China, a lot of brands, what they are doing now is to select a hero product, working together with lots of key opinion leaders, putting the content up there and making them to grow the grass and then instant conversion through live streaming, through short videos, through all formats of different content. So introducing China's online KOL, which is key opinion leader, writing on the new social media platforms and dynamic broadcasting formats, what we call 网红s. Basically, they have almost built a really broad media influence now in China. 60% of Chinese internet users have the same or higher interests in 网红s than celebrities. So currently, 网红 is much more popular compared, not much more, it's more popular in some sense when they work together with the brand to drive sales. And 40% of users pay more attention to the 网红 content than to the celebrity news. 10% of an average 2017 brand marketing budget in China was spent on cooperation with 网红s. Just to show you how powerful they are, on the right-hand side, the left-hand side is a top fashion key opinion leader, Sherry. On the right-hand side is the very famous actress in China, the celebrity called Yang Mi. She is like the Angelina Jolie in China. And what you can see here, within the followers, the age between the age span from 21 years old to 31 years old, which a lot of FMCG or retail brands are targeting, the influence power of this top 网红, top KOL Sherry almost doubled the influence power of top celebrity Yang Mi. So year on year, the number of Weibo users who follow social KOLs grow around 20%, and also the e-commerce sales through them has grown a lot, as you can see from the left-hand side corner bottom. So this is how 网红 is actually driving the growth, and this is how content marketing is helping the e-commerce world to grow even further. So I think that I will wrap up here and hand over back to Ting. Hopefully this is enough, and I will wait for your questions.
Thank you, Jia. I hope you have found the presentation helpful in understanding China's digital market. Before we take questions, and while you're getting questions ready, I would like to tell you a bit more about how Crayfish can help you with your business in China. In addition to the self-service marketplace I mentioned, we also offer tailored services for more complicated projects. And the areas we help covers all aspects of doing business in China, from market entry to IP protection, from digital marketing to translation, and from HR to sourcing. Specifically on digital marketing, we can help with very simple social media account setup, but also longer term marketing campaigns as well as copywritings and managing SEO campaigns as well. So if you have any questions or inquiries or wanted to have a discussion with us, please do contact us. So now we've got a question coming through. So the first question is, can you please define what the 3 tiers are? What are the key differences?
Okay, let me go back to the first slide. Bear with me for 1 second. There we go. So when we say tiers, it's mainly city-based. So we almost divided all the cities around China to 3 different tiers. The top tiers, as I said, are the ones who the average income is really high. The development in both the technology and the economy development is really high. For example, Shanghai is very international. When you go there, you almost feel like similar as what you have here in London. Tier 2 is provincial capitals. For example, if you go to Zhejiang, the provincial capital is Hangzhou. So these tier 2 cities, people there are earning less income than what you have in top 1 cities. The resources that they have there are not so rich as what they have in tier 1 cities. And when you go to tier 3 and tier 4 cities, the average income is definitely below the tier 2 and tier 1 cities. The resources and consumers who live there are quite different from what tier 1 and tier 2 cities are. So just to give you one example, before tier 3 and tier 4 cities always look at what tier 1 and tier 2 cities do and they copy that. And tier 1 cities sometimes copy tier 1 city as well, but not more and more so. Some of the tier 2 cities like Hangzhou and Chengdu, they are evolved in a different way than tier 1 cities. They become more regional, like superstar already.
Okay, so the next question is, can foreign companies often open official WeChat accounts themselves, or do they have to rely on help from a Chinese partner?
Currently, if you are a foreign company and you haven't registered in China, what Crayfish suggests that you can open and oversee official WeChat account here in the UK, and Crayfish can help with you with that. You don't have to rely on a Chinese partner to help you with that.
Okay. This one says, would you ever do a webinar purely on WeChat? It's hard to visualize exactly what it is.
Yes, that's in our plan. Our digital webinar series will definitely have one purely focused on WeChat.
Great. And the final question is, it seems the channels you talked about focus on more on B2C. What about the B2B channels?
Yeah, we do have a lot of B2B clients in our company portfolio. Whenever I talk to them, I will also talk to them about the digital landscape that we just talked about. This is because every business people that you met in your life in China, they are living in the world that I just described to you guys. But also focusing on B2B marketing, which will be our next digital marketing webinar, which will be in April, and you are more than welcome to join us.
Thank you, Zhao. So just briefly to summarize, no matter what types of collaboration you have with China, whether this is export, import, or tech transfer, or education, culture exchanges, or you're looking for fundraising investment from China, you are likely to encounter some kind of cross-cultural challenges and issues. And so at Crayfish, we have developed a model to address all this in a systematic way. And our webinars are designed to spread such knowledge and best practice to help you overcome such challenges. So we have a lot of forthcoming webinars almost every week. So the next one, next Tuesday, would deal with how do you convert sales opportunity into sales, how to convert leads into sales. Then a week after that, on Wednesday, 27th, we will talk about getting money out of China, tax implication, things like that. Then we will again have digital marketing. So just notice the one final question coming through. Is affiliate marketing a good route for foreign companies to pick up e-commerce partners in China?
Affiliate marketing in China is defined a little bit different from what we have here. So before, affiliate marketing in China has had its glorious days. So, for example, we have 什么值得买 said what's worth to buy. So, but now people do it more through collaboration with the KOLs or through the big accounts that as I described. So it's not just the traditional affiliate marketing that we have here, where you go through certain websites and giving out coupons. In China, it's evolved in a more complex way. I can write to the person who asked these questions, and this is a very interesting question as well. And based on one of my observations, this can be quite different depending on each platforms on which you choose in China digital marketing.
Thank you very much, Jiao. Thank you everyone for listening.